Hi, my name is Kaylee Oesterreich. This is Savannah Cooley, and this is our You Teach project for Math 156. Today we are learning about the area of polygons and circles. So for our very first project, we have the shape man, and the students are going to find the area of each of the following shapes listed on the side of the page. And then they have their little worksheet that I created. With the stamp column to get their answer checked and approved to make sure they're on the right track. This way that you could specialize and help students during enrichment if they're not totally getting one of the concepts. Along with the worksheet, there's the equation for each of the shapes. This way you're helping each student regardless of their level, where they're at in math. So first we're going to find the area of the shape man's head. And we have our handy dandy ruler. So Savannah here is going to measure how big his head is.
Right. Two and a half inches.
Okay,
long.
So then the radius is only half of that.
1 3/4.
All right, so then on her worksheet page, she's going to write 1 3/4 as his head size. The radius. All right, and then we are going to find our answer. So she's going to type in 1.75 on our calculator. Find that squared. And then we're also going to times that by pi. And that area is going to equal 9.6. Alrighty, then we're going to move to his body, which is going to be a triangle. So she's going to measure the base of the triangle and then the height of the triangle and divide that by 2.
So the base is 3 and the height is 2.
And then we're going to plug that into our worksheet where we have the equation right above it, as well as written on the board in case any of the students need cross-referencing or any extra help. All right, so then she has 3 times 2, which is 6, over 2, which is going to equal 3. Perfect. So then we're going to move to the shape man's legs, which are going to be rectangles. And for the area, we're going to find the width times the length.
Okay. So 1 inch for the width and 2.5 for the length.
So she got 1 inch for the width and 2.5 for the length. So we're going to go ahead and plug that into our worksheet so we can get our stamp.
Oh, they're doing it right. Yeah. All right. Wait. 1 times 2.5 equals 2.5.
Perfect. And then she's going to write it right on her answer column so the answers are very clear and concise and you can see where they're at. Next, she's going to find just the square piece of his hat, just because there's no other squares on the shape man. So then they're finding different kinds of the polygons.
So I need to find
just the one side. So for the hat, the square is a and a squared. Perfect.
1 and that'll just be your answer.
It's just 1. Perfect, because 1 times 1 is 1. All right, perfect. So then for our kinesthetic activity, we're going to do s'mores. So we have our little s'mores basket here. So I would do modeling prior to teaching the lesson or allowing the students to have the materials just because the chocolate can melt, or some students might find the marshmallows more fun to tear apart than to measure. So I would do modeling prior. I have one marshmallow that I have the radius already on there, 1 inch. The side of the square graham cracker is 2.5 inches, 2.5. And then I did the entire line of the Hershey bar instead of the one chunk, just so it was easier to measure. Plus, you need chocolate on your s'mores. So for our s'mores worksheet is going to be the top half of their project. So it's just one worksheet, so that you can evaluate the student on each of the topics and see which helped them more, maybe the kinesthetic or the visual, whichever learning style that they best understand. So for the s'mores, after modeling and explaining the lesson, I would hand out the materials as well as their worksheet, give them the directions, and then once they have their entire stamp sheet filled out and their measurements are correct, then they're allowed to eat their s'mores. So we're going to give Savannah 2 s'more graham crackers for the bottoms, her 1 marshmallow, and her Hershey chocolate block. So we're going to measure each of those with the same ruler we used before. So we're going to start out with our marshmallow and find the circumference or just the radius, whichever is easier.
Okay, so the radius is 1 inch.
So then we're going to plug that in, and on the marshmallow sheet, I do have the equations still plugged in at the very top of the each of them. So it says marshmallow, and then next to it is the equation, just so students can internalize and really make connections with real-world objects and the equation.
The area equals 3.14.
Perfect, because the radius was 1, and 1 squared is 1, and then 1 times pi is just pi. So then we're going to move to the Hershey block, which is going to be a rectangle once again, just like the Shape Man. So then that's going to be the length times the width.
So the width,
I know it's a little hard to measure chocolate, but with kids, they won't necessarily mind.
the width is 1 inch and the length is 2 inches. That means that the area is just 2.
Perfect. And then we're going to measure for our graham cracker, which is a square or more similar to a square than a rectangle.
Alright. So it is 2.5.
So then we're going to plug in the little a for 2.5, and then it is squared.
Okay, so 6.25.
Perfect. So then 6.25 is our answer in inches for the graham crackers area. So once the student has completed the s'mores worksheet, the teacher or one of the aides can go around and give them their stamps for each of the problems in the equations. And once their stamps are all filled out, then they can go ahead and eat their sweet treat. Thank you.